Yep, that's right. Fear Factory. We have Burton, Dino, Christian, and Raymond. The classic lineup of one of the best industrial bands ever. But Fear Factory weren't always industrial. They were death metal, bit of grindcore when they first started. Now, you may notice something. I don't have Mechanized with me. I don't know where it is. So it'd be roughly in the middle for me. Dino Cazares returned. You had Brian Stroud still there. You had Gene Hoglan. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. It was a fairly good record. Better than the Industrialist, which is, I find, their worst album. Mechanized, fairly accurate to say it's better than Transgression. But yeah, that's my mention of it. So I can't put it in the rank other than, yeah, sort of in the middle. But better than those two albums I mentioned. Now, I'm starting with the best of Fear Factory. Once again, a really good introduction. So if you haven't heard Fear Factory before, get this CD before you get one of the albums. This pretty much does have the best songs. I would have excluded Cars. Look, it's an alright cover, but they could have added a song or two from Archetype. They're saying they weren't added because they're part of that album's from a different record label. But when you look at the CD of Archetype, it mentions Roadrunner Records. So they could have done it, but Fear Factory were in enough legal issues. So, I mean, these Roadrunner Best of collections are awesome. I've got the Best of Cold Chamber. Who will be next? And the Best of Sepultura. And then there's this. They didn't do one for Slipknot. They're on the Cold Chamber. Because the Nine did their own best of. It wasn't that good. But yeah, these ones by Roadrunner, they're quite awesome. So I might do a best of the best of. So, good start, good introduction to Fear Factory. Now, they got a lot of history, especially with their CDs. Now, of course, The Industrialist. It's a good idea, it's a concept. There's some awesome riffs, especially in the opening song, but yeah, they could have done without this album. They really could. I've only listened to it a couple times. Mechanized is better than this. Now, this is where they got rid of pretty much the whole band. It was just Dino doing the bass and guitar. The drums are programmed. The idea behind this is alright, but the execution, no. So apart from a couple good riffs and some lyrics, it's not great. Now, you might find this is weird to have this compilation. This contains the last song that was recorded with Dino before the band split. It's got some remixes, some demos, some alternative versions, like Dead Bodies, aka Invisible Wounds. The better version is on this track. So, yeah, some remixes from Remanufacturer. But, yeah, it's a really interesting part for the collection. Hate Files. I like it. They did that to finalize a contract. So, if things worked out well, that could have been the album after Digimortal. Now, next. Regression Continuum. Good album. This was meant to be Monolith. The only fragment of Monolith is Monolith. Now, purity in this, that's Replica 2. It literally is. Same tuning, almost the same structure. Yeah, so Aggression Continuum really was a bit of a hard act, especially following up from Genesys, which was amazing. Though it's a fairly solid record. Like, I probably have Mechanize, or will have had Mechanize before this, or maybe after, but the last album with Burton. So, yeah, it's a fairly important entry to Fear Factory's discography. But you might find this controversial again as we go up in the ranks, but this is a classic. Now, this is Fear Factory's first album, but they weren't happy with how things were going. They took their producer to court. He won, and he used this for his resume. Fear Factory was death/grind. Ray does a lot of blast beats in this, a few tom rolls. They had a different bassist before Christian came in, but Dino did most parts in this. So yeah, this is important, because they've had lots of court cases. Dino ended up winning to have the name, and Christian and Raymond are still trying to get back, but no, they won't. But yeah, Concrete. It was released in 2002, so after Digimortal, Hate Files came about, Concrete was released. The band came back with Archetype. Yeah. So, Transgression. Why is that higher than Aggression Continuum? I don't know. So I might re-rank and put this down below and have Aggression Continuum up. See, it's crazy because the whole history of the band is crazy. So yeah, replace Transgression with Aggression Continuum. Now, we have Genesys. This is a beautiful album. It pretty much has the sequel to Archetype on this. Regenerate. It's very much the sequel to Archetype. This also works as a follow-up to The Manufacturer as well, and a little Digimortal. So there's lots of connections. It's a good album. It's probably the most solid. It's a powerful album. I don't know what else to say about it other than Genesys. It rocks. It kicks all the other albums' asses. Not to say those other albums aren't kick ass. They are pretty good. Now, Soul of a New Machine is right here. Well, it's a classic. So, technically, their second album. But Concrete was nixed and released in 2002. So, like a spin-off own thing. So, again, it's hard and tricky, but yes, going by the history, this is their second album. Few remixes, so it's like a remake, sort of, in a way. And it's a good one. You got Scapegoat and Martyr, two of their best. They still play them live today. And yeah, one of the first albums that had raw and clean singing. Concrete just had brutal vocals, and Burton was great. Then over the years he lost it, but yeah, Sullivan, New Machine, classic album, love it. But there's other albums coming up which I love more. Digimortal. I love this album so much, I got 2 versions. Of course, the Digipack has some more songs. Some ones that make this version better than that one. Acres of Skin, What Will Become, Damaged, Dark Bodies aka Invisible Runes. I just gotta double check. Back to the Fuck Up is interesting, it's alright, but yeah, look, it's a good album. Oh, and Lynchpin. So, yeah, Digimortal, it's high tire because it's just a fun record. And I love it. What's next? Obsolete, Edge Crusher, Shock, Resurrection, Iconic Logo. Again, good album. It's almost of legend. Archetype is said not to be a concept album, but it is. It's about an individual who's known as the Archetype. He lives in the hive where all the drones work for a Big Brother type character. Now, Act of God is about that Big Brother type's wrath. Cyber Waste is, well, basically him talking about on all the computers. Slave Labor, which opens the album. That's about all the drones in the hive, because it mentions drones in the hive and getting gas poured on. So basically, if they don't do their work, they get incinerated. So the Archetype has to save the drones. So yeah, he's saying, look into his eyes and tell him what you see. And then bite the hand that bleeds. It's basically the Archetype turning on the Big Brother type. Then Undercurrent, that's going under the current of the core of the hive. Default Judgment, well, getting judged by the higher up. Bone Scraper, that's like, getting ripping out of the hive, so to speak, and assertion. Well, it says here, in school, well, it all ends up and finishes at school, where the drones are taught. So I read between the lines, call it fan fiction, but it is a concept album. Because the drones are in the hive and they're worshipping God, basically. And the Archetype is breaking away from that. I love Archetype because it brings back the raw heaviness of the first couple of albums. Has the melodic. There's some great stuff in it. It's heavy. I still put this Cyber Waste is one of their best songs. It's like Scapegoat number 2. Bone Scraper's got some great stuff in it. There's a little bit of filler. Some tracks may end up a little bit weak, like School. It's a cover. Didn't need to be there. But, Archetype, it's there for a reason, but demanufacture. Represent. Oh yeah. Just look at that. The barcode spinal cord. It's legendary. As is this. Look at that. The Revolution of Fear Factory. How will they be with a new singer? Dino said it may be a lady singer. Women can do well with vocals. Alicia Goulds-White, Angela Gusso, Christina Scabbia, the Butcher Babies. So, I reckon if the new singer is a lady, she will kick ass. And Burton couldn't have done any more because his voice was shot. He went out of tone so many times. His deep vocals were weakening. His cleans haven't been that good for a while. He always went in and out. So I reckon the best thing happened to that band. You know, we got a great legacy with Burton. Dino still wants to keep going, so maybe one more round. Could get a new album with the new singer. I don't know, but it's said to be revealed this year. So yeah, I'll scare you later. And our next couple of reviews are gonna be fun.